There are a lot of things different about advertising education because of the education we provide reflects what's happened in the industry. It's huge. When we first started, you needed a book of 15 to 20 pieces of 3 campaigns and maybe a couple of singles, demonstrate TV. Our students were actually producing TV, and one team actually won the only Grand Clio ever awarded to students for a television campaign they did, and it went on to air on America's Funniest Videos. But now, it's a much more interesting time to be in the business. The agencies now are as interested in who the graduate is as a person as they are in their book. They want you to be a really interesting person, culturally aware, positive. Those are all kind of things that they're looking for, a real team player.
I think trends in advertising, it's actually an interesting question because a number of months ago I was asked by a small women's networking group in advertising to talk about 3 kind of jobs of the future. And I consider them jobs of right now, actually, that only some companies sort of understand. And then I talked about 3 industries that I think those jobs kind of are applying to. And my hypothesis was all about hybridization of the industry and how I think, especially when you're junior in your career and you're trying to figure out sort of what the right career path is, if you're good at a lot of little things, you can easily think, like I did, that maybe there's something wrong with you, but actually that is the talent, and that's the talent that you need, and that's the talent that agencies want, and that clients want to see reflected in the work that they're getting from agencies these days. So we're seeing a lot of people who are kind of part planners and creative directors who are more strategic. My background is in user experience design, which is specifically digital, but taking that more into a creative direction path rather than like a functional usability path. We're also seeing creative and technology merge together, so there are titles like creative technologists that exist now out in the market. And I think we're seeing those jobs apply to a couple of different areas. So obviously, traditional and interactive are becoming completely integrated. That one's sort of a no-brainer. The next one that I really see a lot of is physical and digital. Whether that be a physical, like industrial design product, like the Nike Plus model, for example, or if it's even campaigns and branding that has to do with a physical time, place, space continuum. So components of Google Maps or Foursquare and social media connecting to a brand and a special offer. Those types of things are all being kind of wrapped up together and are trending as kind of really juicy, interesting things that people seem to be engaging with. And then the third one I see a lot of is kind of what I call the hybridization of design and then business entrepreneurship. So again, my background being a bit more digital, the idea of taking what's possible with digital technology and then reinventing business possibilities for it.
When an agency hires a young creative now, they're looking for an instant profit center. They don't have time to train, so they need someone that they can welcome when they arrive at the agency on their first day. They hand them a brief, and the person sits down and starts solving a problem for the client. They know how to work. One graduate recently hired at Ogilvy. He went to our portfolio review, met the recruiter at Ogilvy. The next day he went to the agency for an interview. The following week they hired him. He arrived at 10 o'clock at the agency. By 10:45 he was working on his first brief, and the next day he was presenting to the creative director his ideas. And he emailed me back going, Pippa, it really works.
Students either just starting to look into educational programs or just finishing a program and looking to start a job is to really find something that they're passionate about and not to be limited necessarily by a job title or by an old definition of what that job was. What I mean by that is what it means to be an art director in a traditional ad firm is no longer what that was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And I think it's important for students to really understand just branding, the craft of something, whether it be really good visual design, really good writing, really good interaction, or technology application, sort of owning the ability to be conceptual, but also the ability to make something really, really well, and to think, and to be collaborative, and to be multifaceted. Those are sort of the knowledge areas and the, I'd say, cultural personality areas that students need to hone to be successful in their careers.
Recently, I was giving a presentation at an advertising conference, and part of what I was presenting was the award-winning work that our students had done recently. And so I pulled it all, and in looking at it, I realized that the work that won at the One Show, and the Clios, and the Andes, and all the different categories that there are, they weren't print ads or television commercials with beautiful headlines or pictures. They were business solutions. Every single piece that won the Best of Show was a business solution, like how to modify the Swedish taxation system. That won. One project the students did was for eBay. And so for a week, they went to different people's houses that had junk piled up by the road for the garbage men to carry off. And they went through it and found things that they thought were interesting that they could sell on eBay. So then they went, put it up on eBay, sold it, and then they brought the checks to the people. They knocked on the people's door and said, I have something to give you, and the person was all surprised, and they would hand them a check for $100 or $200. And they wound up selling almost $2,000 worth of goods that they got off of the street on eBay, and then taking the money to the people. And what a great campaign for eBay.